Hello, universe. Welcome to my world. Normally, when we do Angelina Jordan videos, our most common format is to feature one song with different versions and then to have Angelina perform that same song at the end. But today's format is rather different. We're going to have Angelina Jordan at the end, but rather than having different versions of the same song, we're going to tell a story. A long, complicated story. Let's start by talking about how a listener reacts to a song. He can hear a song and he can want to dance. The song can generate feelings in him, happy or sadness or excitement. Or the song can generate memories. It might be a memory of a song played at a wedding. It might be a song played at a funeral. Or, as in today's video, it can be songs associated with memories about the panorama of a life. And if you will allow me, I'm going to illustrate the panorama of my life with all the different milestones with different songs. For example, when Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons sing
Late December back in '63, what a very special time for me.
they're simply capturing as Angelina Jordan would say. But these are not just any songs that will illustrate the milestones of my life. These are all songs about different cities throughout the world. And as the Beatles say,
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed.
so my story via song goes something like this. I was born in
New York, New York.
Now, when you're a kid growing up, you look around you and you think that this is normal and that every kid is having more or less this experience. But as I grew a bit older, I realized that New York really is very intense. As Sinatra says,
In a city that doesn't sleep,
and so as I grew more and more, I decided
I'm leaving New York, New York.
the first music I came across, the first record that I bought, is actually not about a city, but it's about a state. It was the mid-50s, and the song really caught my ear at the age of 6. I must say, my musical tastes have changed greatly since then.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
In the late 60s, I had my first major trip, and I went to San Francisco. The late 60s was a very good time to go to California in the middle of the hippie era. Little did we know it would be one short
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair.
I've been 7-1. If I was in the lead, California dreaming. Oh.
It was a very unusual time. I've never been to Chicago. I passed by it very closely in a journey driving back from California. My friend and I drove 72 hours nonstop in his VW Beetle. I would sleep while he would drive. I would drive while he would sleep. But I've heard very good things about Chicago.
To my sweet home, Chicago.
In the early 70s, I had my first venture to Europe. My first port of call, according to Freddie Mercury, was and I was really enchanted by the architecture of Gaudi. To me, his buildings look like melted wedding cakes. And then, for the first time, I went to Paris. There's something absolutely magical about Paris. I'm not the first person to say that. Every time I go there, I walk the streets and I say to myself, Why am I not living here? The French worship style, and it really shows. And even Angelina appreciates Paris in one of her videos. And my reaction to Paris is encapsulated in a song which was written after World War I.
How you going to do down on the farm after they've seen Paris?
And Ella Fitzgerald summed up my feelings very well.
I love Paris every moment, every moment of the year.
After more traveling through the continent, I finally arrived in London.
Oh, let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind.
And the second day I was there, I went to Portobello Road Market, and I thought I was in Rio at Carnival. It was magical. I traveled for many weeks longer until I ran out of money.
I have nothing, nothing.
And then I followed Bob Dylan's lyrics.
I'm going back to New York City. I believe I had enough.
I went back to America, could not wait to get back to Europe. And for the last 30 years, I have been living in Bristol, England. First time I heard of Bristol was a song in the 60s by the Dovells. They were singing about the Bristol Stomp. The irony is, they weren't singing about Bristol, England. They were singing about Bristol, Pennsylvania. And living in England for all this time, it was just a matter of time before I made a pilgrimage to Liverpool, because I have always been a very big Beatles fan. And the Bangles in the 80s summed it up very well about Liverpool.
Green and pleasant land. I'm going down to Liverpool to do nothing. I'm going down to Liverpool to do nothing. I'm going down to Liverpool to do nothing all the days of my life.
And there's one more city we need to talk about. Surprise, surprise. It is Oslo, the capital of Norway. I visited Oslo several times in the 90s, but there was a 30-year gap before I revisited 3 years ago. Oslo, for a capital, is very small, it's very clean, and it's a very smart city. And in Oslo, as well as the rest of Norway, you may be lucky enough to see the Northern Lights. And the pilgrimage I made 3 years ago was to 2 Angelina Jordan concerts. It was there that I met Pontus, and it was a moving and wonderful experience. When Angelina Jordan sings her hymn to Oslo, it's a very unusual and very wonderful song. It's an old-fashioned song. It's almost like from the 1930s. It's beautiful, and I've really stretched my imagination to see if I can find a song that it reminds me of. I'm not sure I could. The only song that was even remotely similar was a song called Greenfields from 30 or 40 years ago. It's beautiful and sentimental and geographic.
Once there were green fields kissed by the sun. Once there were valleys where rivers used to run.
But if I'm talking about past memories throughout the panorama of my life, I have to bring you up to date and say that my memories of the last 4 years since discovering Angelina Jordan has made me redefine many things through her. I've learned to make videos, but I've also realized that I'm able to tell a story. I didn't realize that before. But much, much more important, through listening to her over and over again and the impact she has on me, I feel more. My feelings are stronger. They're more defined. I have more access to them. And this is not only while I'm listening to her, this has become a permanent feature of my experience with Angelina Jordan.
Far, far away, there's a little girl. She's singing along with the seagulls in the sky, dancing with the reindeers in the snow. Round and round she goes, caught in the tide. The rainbows remind her that this will not last. Down and down she goes, and oh, slow. The stars are her witnesses wherever she is. Her eyes will always be back home. The gentle sounds of the Atlantic Sea, it makes she miss you so much. This magic country has her in the spell. The stars are her witnesses wherever she is. Her eyes will always be back home. By the sea and the waves, by the mountains and the snow, and Aurora that's in the sky, that's a magic. The stars are my witnesses wherever I am. My eyes will always be back home.
It's amazing how a song can act as a milestone in your life and define wonderful or dramatic moments. You hear old couples or even young couples saying, "This is our song because this is the song that we danced to the first night we met." And you can even have a granny saying, "Oh, I've always loved this song my whole life. Please see me out with it at my funeral." This is the power of music. We will continue to explore the power of music with Angeline in the future. Okay, gang, I'm out here. I'll catch you later. Bye.